So today we're continuing with the Fiat 500 and we're going to look at the exhaust and the suspension noise at the back. So here we are, I think we're part 57 of 499 of the Fiat 500 project. Gearbox is good, transmission's good, still got the exhaust to have a look at, which is obviously at the back box is gone and the new one is in the box up there, so we'll get that out in a minute. And there's something else we're going to have a look at. Oh yes, suspension clonk at the back. It sounds like the suspension's not fastened to the car, which obviously is not good. Now I've done the obvious thing, made sure there's no rubbish in the boot, took the spare wheel out, made sure it wasn't that was rattling. I've done that before. It sounds to me like a shock absorber top mount rattling, something like that. Not quite sure. So let's crack on with it and have a look, get it jacked up and have a look at that exhaust leak. Car jacked up now. As the new exhaust, here's the old exhaust. Now what you'll see is the old exhaust, this has already been replaced. This is actually only 3 years old. It's unbelievable, isn't it? And it's corroded. And it's corroded on this point here where it joins the old exhaust. So I'm hoping the front pipe section is okay and it's just split up here and corroded up here. And you can see I've gone for a little bit of a better tip, which actually it should have, because that fits in this shape of the bumper here, not the round one, this one. So I'm hoping this is going to look better. So let me see if I can try and show you where the leak is. Okay, so we're under here now. You can see again this exhaust is only 3 years old. Unbelievable. It's corroded there, corroded there. But where it's actually blowing is this bit here, and you can see obviously someone's done a bit of a fudge. Probably the MOT man trying to just get it through. He's put a new clamp on it, but it's actually leaking up there where my finger is at the top. So hopefully we'll just take this off, try and split that joint, bring it over the rear suspension. And I've got to look at this suspension clonking as well, which isn't the exhaust, because that would have been a simple and nice fix. It's obviously something else we need to have a look at. Let's just make sure that's not petrol, is it? No, that's water. That's good. That would have been bad. So, okay, let's see if we can get this broke off and get this exhaust out. Old exhaust off easier than expected, and you can see that's where it's rotted through on the joint. It's probably not far off going there, to be honest, and on the side there, so pretty shot, but it came off pretty easy really without much of a fight, which is nice. So new exhaust lined up there ready to go on. Exhaust replaced, probably the easiest one I've ever done. In fact, probably easier than replacing a wheel. So to get it off, just split this U-clamp here, split the pipe here, pulled it over the suspension. There's 2 rubber blocks up there, one on that side, prized that off with a screwdriver, pulled it back, took it off, put the new one on, put some assembly paste on this end. Didn't tighten that up yet, put the 2 rubber clamps on, line it up so it's nice and square, then tighten those clamps up, job done. And you can see it fits a lot better because it now fits in this shape of the bumper. So pleased with that, that looks better. Nice chrome tip, goes with the chrome on here, job done. On to suspension. So I just ran it up, exhaust sorted, looks pretty. Just ran it up, got it nice and warm so it seals the and sets the exhaust cement on the paste on that. So now I'm going to look at the suspension noise. So the best thing to do, as I say, go down for a road, take all your crap out your boot so it's not that. Got it on these stands, so it's as if you jack it up and the wheels are dangling down, it's not a true simulation of being on the road, so you really need to simulate it on the road with the weight on the wheels. Hence I've got it on these wheel stands. And take the handbrake off, chock the front wheels, and if you hear this now, if you give it a shake. Now my thought there is shock absorbers. Sorry, my thought there is shock absorbers. Sounds like shock absorbers to me. And if you have a look underneath, I'll show you. They're on a particularly bad angle. The shock absorbers are best if they're upright and compressed, but these are on such an angle like this. And they look like they've been on from day one, to be honest. So I think that's another thing to replace, but if it is, it's an easy fix. So we've got the first shock off, and actually they don't look as old as what I thought. If you have a look, you can see they don't look particularly old, and I'm sure there are some receipts for replacing shock absorbers, and they're okay. But where they've gone is this top mount. Look, it's actually delaminated here. So I'm not sure if I can just get a new top bush. Might be cheaper just to get the whole shock absorber. Anyway, let's get the other one off and I'll show you how I did it. So to get the shock off, which is this here, it was just one bolt here, which is a 19mm spanner, and then a bolt up there through the wheel arch, which was a 15mm. I actually did it without taking the wheel off. Just got a slim spanner up the back there. But it probably would be easier actually if you took the wheel off, just jack up one at a time, do the 19 at the bottom and the 15 at the top. But I'm just going to take them off, and then I'm going to actually just going to go for a drive, short drive with the shocks off, because to be honest I hadn't even got to the end of the drive and I could hear it rattling. So a drive with the shocks off, see what happens if noise goes away. I know it's definitely that, and I don't mind investing in the shocks. Got a bolt here, where's this from? Oh, it's top of the shock, that's okay. So I've got the driver's side one off now, and this is actually just the same. This is loose in the top so much so you can actually push it out. Now what I could actually do, I could actually machine an aluminium bush to go in there and put that back in. That would save me a few quid because the shock's good. But at the end of the day, I don't think the shock absorbers are very expensive, so it may be easy just to buy them. But I'm going to go for a drive down the road now and see if the noise is gone, and then I know I don't need to investigate any further than these. Now just a word of warning obviously about driving on the road with no shock absorbers on. I'm actually obviously testing it on my private test track, and I'm not going very far. Like I say, if I get to the bottom of the drive and it's not clonking, I know I've fixed it, because if you don't have any shock absorbers on, this is what will happen. Basically it won't dampen out the suspension and you'll just be boinging all over the place, and if you went round a roundabout you'd probably kill yourself. So I'm just going probably 100 yards down the road and back, private road, and testing it. Okay, been for a little drive, and there's no noise now, although it was like driving some sort of comedy clown car bouncing up and down. I didn't go over 5 miles an hour, I didn't need to. Now again, these shocks, just quick looking online, it does seem to be a problem with the Fiat 500s at the top mount, and I think it's because of the extreme angle it's on. It's on an angle like this, so instead of getting much sort of compression on the shock absorber, you're getting more movement and jiggling at the top. So I think what I might try is they do a Power Flex kit for bushes at the top, which turns out cheaper than a pair of shock absorbers, and I think if I put new shocks on it'll only go again, because I'm pretty sure, I'm going to check the receipts first, I'm sure these are only changed a few years ago, and I've probably only done maybe 10,000 miles if that. But I'll have a look, and the options are change the top bush, make something, or just give up and buy a whole new shock absorber. So I'll come back to this in a bit. So we're going to carry on today with the shocking problem. Did you get that? Shocking problem? Shock absorbers. Anyway, so this is the shocking problem. Now these shock absorbers I did have a look at, and you can actually buy the bushes for them for the top. What you'll find is, well, this is my problem, it's fell out, but you'll see there's a void, a little airspace to the top and bottom, and these bushes are known to start moving like this, making a rattle, and you can see, well, we can't hear it, but it's moving around, and basically it's worn out. Now you can actually buy Polyflex bushes that will go in the top and replace them. But when I looked in the service history, these shock absorbers, they've been on for 30,000 miles. Now the poly bushes are £38, and I got 2 new shocks for £44, so I might as well fit new shocks. So there's a new shock, and you'll see this has actually got a solid bush all the way around the top and the bottom, so that's going to be better. It looks shorter because it's got a strap on. Apologies for the noise in a minute because the dustbin cart's coming past. But it's basically easy to fit. It's 2 bolts, one at the top, one at the bottom, probably 15 minutes each side. So let's get the car jacked up and I'll show you what that's like. Noisy dustbin cart. fact, actually, what I'll show you first of all is, if you've ever wondered why you have a shock absorber actually what it does is it dampens the spring. So if I try and compress it there, it's quite hard to do, and then it'll slowly go back up. So instead of the spring bouncing up and down, it dampens that out. And if you ever wondered what it was like to not have good shock absorbers, or not even shock absorbers because I've removed them off this car, watch this. Basically you see it keep rebounding. Look at that with just one hand. And basically it's like driving a clown car. So the shock absorber basically picks up on the top bolt there and a bottom bolt down here, which is hidden. So it's secured in place by two bolts, a 15mm at the top and a 19mm at the bottom. I'd leave this strap on because it just helps you keeping it compressed while you're putting it in. So we'll put the top one in first. And then the bottom one. What I might actually do is actually cut this off now. Just take that strap off there, and that will extend down to the bottom one. Lower bolt we need to get in there. We just need to line this up. Just going to jack it up a little bit just to assist. Basically compress the shock absorber just a little bit, get it to go in, get the bolt to go through. So we'll just get this lower bolt in here now, which is a 19mm socket. So it's as simple as that. 15mm bolt at the top, 15mm span at the top, 19mm at the bottom there. You see that in there. New shock absorber in, wheel back on, do the same on the other side, and then we'll do the bound test. And it should all be okay, hopefully. So that probably took 5 minutes if that. So then again, 15mm bolt at the top, 19 at the bottom. So you can see new shock on, new exhaust on, get the wheel back on. So there we go, that's the end of this episode for Ditzy, the Fiat 500. Another job done, exhaust done, and the rear shock absorbers. We're working our way down that list. We've still got suspect head gasket or coolant leak, or I'm just not quite sure. I'm being overly cautious, I suppose. Pollen filter to replace. And also that sump leaking that's corroded. So we're getting to the bottom of it now. It's nearly like a new car, isn't it? So please like, subscribe, probably a couple more episodes, maybe even just one more and this car's finished. Then we can get back onto my other cars, which are the Porsche, the CLK Mercedes and the truck GMC 58 Apache. Okay, thank you for watching, bye.